He's killing me.
Dark, horrific secrets await you at the Ostrich Inn.
That is very spooky in there.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Now we've come to the village of Colnbrook in Berkshire, which is right next to Heathrow. But it's home to the third oldest pub in Great Britain. Now the Ostrich Inn has the look and feel of a typical English village pub. But behind its quaint doors, apparently over 60 people met their deaths there hundreds of years ago in the most bizarre way. Now, some people say it's haunted. Some say it's pure fabrication, which is a good marketing ploy. But to find out the truth, Most Haunted are going to spend 24 hours here.
The inn dates back to 1103, and it's said in the 14th century an evil landlord called Jarman committed gruesome murders. His victims were weary travellers in need of refreshment and a bed for the night. Little did they know it would be their last stopover.
Lots of people have reported strange occurrences, not just the people who work here, but by the people who drink here as well. In fact, some staff members are so scared they won't even go into certain rooms after dark. So is the Ostrich Inn haunted, or is it just people's imagination running wild? Well, that's what the Most Haunted team are here to find out. Now, the people who are spending the night here are Martin on sound. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Rick, one of our cameramen. Are you OK? Looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right. Not scared at all then, Ian?
Oh, no, not.
You never are you? Then we've got Bev, our director. Bev, how do you feel about the Ostrich Inn?
Excited.
Do you feel a bit spooked, Carl, our producer?
I've always spooked.
I know you are. And, of course, the gorgeous Mark on Steadicam. Now, apart from our lovely crew, we also need a little bit of expert help. And to do that, we've got our psychic medium, Derek Okora. Now, he is on his way, but he has no idea about the location or where he's coming to or the history. So he's been driven around the countryside until we say we're ready for him. Now, another member of our team, of course, is parapsychologist Jason Carl. Now, Jason, you as a parapsychologist, if you're going to catch any paranormal activity, you're going to look for hard evidence, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, particularly here at the Ostrich, we're going to be using an electromagnetic field tester. This basically is registering the natural electromagnetic field, and if the natural field is disturbed, which is linked to ghost sightings and paranormal activity, allegedly, then this will tell me that with the sound. So we'll be looking for that. We're also going to use this, basically it's a thermal gun, and that looks for cold spots, unusual fluctuations in temperature.
Which is quite common, isn't it? I've heard of that before.
Well, it's linked to alleged ghost sightings,
Okay.
yeah.
What are you expecting to pick up tonight?
Well, I'm expecting to pick up absolutely nothing, but what I will be looking for is evidence that I can catch on the scientific equipment, which I can then say this is either a natural phenomenon or it's something I can't explain. We'll be looking for fluctuations.
Now, when Derek Okora, the medium, starts actually working, he actually touches things and picks things up, sort of supposedly through his spirit guide, Sam. How does that work?
Well, it's only a theory, but it's known as psychometry, and that basically is where a medium or a sensitive will touch the actual fabric of either an object or, in this case, a building, and tune in psychically, if you will, to the building's history. And one of the reasons that people have come up with this theory is that, very much like tapes record sound magnetically, that buildings which have a magnetic pull, a magnetic force of their own, that somehow records things that happen, and that is sort of played back, if you like a tape, and that is what Derek is picking up on, allegedly.
Now, Sam and Daniel, the landlord and landlady here, I mean, I find it interesting and unbelievable that you actually want to live here. What's the actual story behind the murders?
Well, it relates back to a gentleman called Jarman, who was a landlord in the 14th century time. And the story relates that he had a room upstairs called the Blue Room, and he used to put his rich guests in there to sleep. And when they were asleep, he used to pull a lever and they used to fall down the floor into a pot of boiling oil. And it's said that he killed 70 people.
And you're all right with that, are you?
You learn to live with it after a while.
Is there any one particular room that you don't like being in after dark?
Well, the Blue Room upstairs is a bit daunting at night time, especially when we can't get the electrics working in there. It starts flickering and making noise.
Really?
So it's a bit of a nightmare.
And anything happened to you, Sam, at all?
No, just occasionally when I'm down here on my own and it's really dark, I hear noises, but nothing major.
We've had ghosts, or so they say, were ghosts floating through the pub. All since the roadwork started out front, they've disturbed all sorts of stuff. Generally, the whole of upstairs, the restaurant, all throughout the servery area upstairs, it's all a bit dodgy at night. You always feel something's happening.
Any crashes, bangs, or anything
All
like
the
that?
time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Where would you hear those?
Well, it normally happens when we're in our accommodation, and you can hear, because we're right next to the restaurant, and you can hear things what happen in the restaurant. You hear large bangs, all sorts, people talking, the odd footsteps going through the ceiling and stuff like that.
What about yourselves? Do you believe in ghosts?
I'm not a great believer. I'm very much believe in what I see. I hear a lot of things, but it could be anything explained. Until I actually see something myself, then I'm a bit in two minds over it, but I'm assured by all the staff that something is going on.
And all the staff believe that there's something
By all
going on?
means. Almost every one of our staff's had some kind of incident through their time here.
When I first started here, there was 2 couples before me that left within a month. When I started here, there was another part-time girl that left. Then we got 2 other deputy managers that left. I mean, we've had loads in the last 3 years that just can't deal with the building. I mean, we had a chef working here for about 2 months, and he said in the Blue Room he had banging in the roof, and then he heard a sawing noise, and then he just freaked out, and then his clock flew from one side of the room to the other side of the room. I mean, but he swears it happened, so, I mean, there's loads of stuff.
Time in the Blue Room when Stuart was cleaning the Blue Room out, and I thought for a laugh I'd sneak up and scare him, which all went well. Snuck up really quietly. He still had his back to me. Just went poo, and he jumped up and he was beeping everywhere. And I just put my arm up to rest on the shelf we had in there, and the room just went sort of cold, and it all started to vibrate, and it really freaked us out. Decided to leave the room as soon as possible, really, and just got out and left it for a bit.
It was one time in the restaurant when we was just setting up. I think I was setting up for a Christmas party. My mate came up, tried to scare me. I didn't really care because, I mean, I knew about everything by that time, so I just had a laugh with him. But then about 2 minutes after he'd gone, all the shutters started banging. They just divide the 2 rooms up. They're big wooden shutters, they're quite heavy. And I thought it was him, of course, so I just started swearing and I was going mad, really, and I went running straight into the Jacobean, which is the room next to it. And then he wasn't there, so I thought he'd just done a runner downstairs, so I went running after him, and in the end I found out he was in the office. There's no way he could have ran that fast to actually do it like that.
That busy road out there used to be the main route from London to Bath. Now, if you're a wealthy traveller, you literally took your life in your own hands. You had highwaymen to contend with, and unsavoury landlord and landladies like the Jarmans, and they'd think nothing of killing you for your money. When the Jarmans had chosen a likely victim, apparently they would use a code, and that would be, Mr. Jarman would say, "There's a big fat pig waiting for us," and then Mrs. Jarman would say, "Good, put him in the sty until tomorrow." It's quite horrible, isn't it? Anyway, this room here leads up to the loft, where there's supposed to be an awful lot of bangs, crashes, footsteps heard, but we'll go back to that room later when I'm not on my own. Now, back to the story. When the victims had had a really good meal and they were sleepy, Mr. and Mrs. Jarman would show them to a specially prepared bedroom. And it all happened in here. Now then, the bed would be positioned here, and the victim would sleep with their head at the top, obviously feet at the bottom. Then once Jarman was aware that the victim was asleep by peeping through the door, he would then go to another part of the inn and turn a lever. That would then tilt the bed, and the victim would slide down the bed into a trap door, which actually is here. Now then, you can't see the real trapdoor, but it's been covered up with concrete and the boilers are sitting on top of them.